think we're a pretty different company, not only in the way that we were formed, but how we're thinking about managing the company. And so I want to just talk for 20 seconds about what I think is kind of the inspiration for our company, which is a quote by Howard Marks. If you're familiar with him, famous value investor from Oaktree. And what Howard Marks says is you have to be different, right? In order to outperform or to be to really make a big difference, you have to do different things than your peers. And so kind of with that, I'll jump into the company and some of the things that we're trying to do differently than our peers, particularly the junior exploration companies that are in the market today. We are a private company today. We're intending to go public in the next couple weeks, listing on the TSX, and focused on the U.S., also in Wyoming. And we also have some assets in Colorado. So my background, as I said, is a little bit different. I'm a bit of an outsider here. I'm from New York. I have no experience in mining, except that we've been investors in the space since 2018. I'm a co-founder of a fund called Sachem Cove, large shareholders in many of these companies that have spoken today. And we actually began this journey in our asset, Premier Urania, in 2018. And we've basically sat with the asset, waiting for the market to turn, and that's why we're here today. We think the timing is phenomenal, not only with the price of uranium moving up, but the actual fundamentals, the contracting market, and obviously sentiment around the space as well. So, as I said, what are the things that we're trying to do that are different? First, our management team is focused on being highly disciplined. Like I said, we've sat with our asset. We haven't tried to spend a lot of money on it while it was very uneconomic. Today, we're getting closer to the projects being economic, and so we think the time is right. But we also want to have a structure that allows us to be both opportunistic at capital allocators, meaning we can do exploration or we can go out and do M&A, and we think there's a tremendous consolidation opportunity, particularly at the lower end of the market. As a result, we raised a bit more capital than we needed, so we just completed an $8 million capital raise, and we'll have a very tight capital structure. Our team is not taking any compensation, so as CEO, I'm not taking options, I'm not taking any additional stock, any cash salary. We want to be highly aligned with the rest of the shareholders, and so Sachem Cove, our fund, will own about 40% of the company post-listing. We're also the lead investor in this round, so we're putting our money where our mouth is. And we think ultimately, my goal here is to put myself out of a job, right? We want to make enough money for shareholders and either sell the company or find another home for it at some point. Because we are primarily investors in the space, we wanted to find a partner, which we did with Consolidated Uranium. We are investors in Consolidated Uranium and have watched what Phil and Marty have done. Obviously, their recent ISO transaction is a fantastic feather in their cap. But when we looked at this and said, we want to take this company public, we need a set of resources available to us that we don't have at our hands. We chose to partner with them and basically leverage the platform that they've built, not only from the capital market side, but also from the exploration, permitting, and licensing side. As I said, we're focused on working towards a listing, hopefully around November 21st on the TSXV. Ultimately, we think this business is about people. Obviously, the assets are important, but if you don't have a great management team who's aligned with shareholders and disciplined, it's not going to matter how great your assets are. And so when we thought about this, we have a track record of success, not only at Sachem Cove as investors. I also built URNM and sold it to Sprott in about 2 years. So we have a track record of actually creating value for shareholders, which is, we think, the ultimate litmus test in the industry is, can you get your share price to a level and create value for shareholders? The partnership with Consolidated allows us to bring a deep technical expertise, something that the Sachem Cove side did not have. And we think, again, that's a differentiator relative to our peers in the junior exploration side. We also have significant institutional investors, so not only is Sachem Cove owning 40%, we have a lead order from Mega Uranium, one of the largest LPs in Sachem Cove's fund, as well as significant shareholding from Consolidated post-spin-out. We think our assets are fantastic. Both Wyoming, ISR amenable assets. Our Cyclone project is going to be our flagship, where our primary use of funds will go. Then we also have a very large land package in the Colorado area in close proximity to White Mesa. I'll flip through to, so again, I think another significant differentiator in our company is the Sachem Cove team's fundamental view of uranium. We do deep fundamental supply-demand work. That is going to drive a lot of the decision-making matrix for this company, not only in terms of capital allocation, but thinking about what types of assets we want to be allocating to and when. And I guess our fundamental view today obviously is quite bullish, like everybody else's here. I think we're probably on the leading edge of being incredibly bullish. We think, if you heard UxC today, we think there's a deficit today, right? We think it's multiple, 20, 50 million pounds, and it goes as far out as the eye can see. Perhaps the most important thing in terms of the timing for us and why now and why you should think about investing in this company is where we are in the contracting cycle. So, one of the things I do disagree with UxC on is their view of what's happening in contracting and inventories. Inventories have been drawn down. There's been a massive 10-year period where utilities have under-contracted, and now they need to come back to the market. And if you look back at our chart on the left, they historically, they basically have been contracting at 30 to 50% of replacement rate. We think that needs to go to 100% plus for multiple years. This will be probably the first year that we're anywhere near that. That gets us very, very bullish that we're finally at the cusp of a multi-year move. Projects like ours will become economically viable. And the deficit is so large that these projects, URG, Lance, all of these projects are going to be needed to fill the deficit. It's an incredibly massive problem. And you also have this bifurcation of East versus West going on right now, where Western utilities are going to need to figure out how to access Western pounds because the East is going to be dominated by China, and that's before sanctions. So we don't need to look at this. We're in a bull market. The U.S., again, we don't need to touch on this a lot, but clearly there is a significant amount of support, not only for nuclear power domestically, but also a nationalist move towards mining. Because this is a national security issue. The U.S. used to be self-sufficient, producing over 40 million pounds for the consumption of its own reactors. Today, we effectively produce none. And I think the beauty of all of this is we are the beneficiaries of that work that's been done in historical cycle. So our project, Cyclone, was built and really drilled in 2007. So we're able to build on that work. And then this is the company today as it stands. So Premier Uranium Inc. is the company that Sachem Cove founded. We are vending in our assets in Colorado and Wyoming for 12 million shares of the company. Consolidated is vending in their 8 DOE leases for 7.75 million shares. We just completed a fundraise at $1.50 a share. And what you'll see is we're going to have a very, very tight capital structure after this transaction. Between Sachem Cove, Consolidated, Mega Uranium, and our LP, we'll control over 65% of the shares. Again, significant differentiator versus a lot of our peers who have spent the last 5 years issuing shares to pay for projects that were not economically viable and are now, have significant overhead of stock. On the team, myself as CEO and director, Marty Tunney will be the chairman, currently the president of Consolidated, Dan Noth, Greg DeRoss, and Mike Harrison also as directors. The significant selling point of partnering with Consolidated was their technical expertise on the ground. Again, this is something that we didn't feel like we could replicate internally. We're able to leverage this team. We're already on the ground in Wyoming and Colorado, getting our assets ready to be permitted and licensed to start drilling in 2024. And again, we're focused on states that have historic resources and long history and supportive governments for these types of drilling. Again, we have kind of a diversified asset base. We have Wyoming, Cyclone, which is ISR amenable, and then we have our hard rock assets in Colorado. How are we doing on time? Okay. So when we started out, when Mike and I looked at these assets in 2018, we felt like they were a tremendous opportunity. Clearly, long history in Wyoming, and really the decision for us was quite simple. So there was a technical report between 8 and 12 million pounds. We had 80 drill holes done, and what we've done since then is actually increase our land position significantly. We did an airborne geophysical survey over our drill holes, and you can see some pretty interesting anomalies, which led us to, again, further stake our land position, and so now we're getting ready to start the drilling program. In Colorado, we've built perhaps the largest land position of any of our peers, on the back of not only the Kane claims and Mars claims, which we contributed, but also the assets that came over from Consolidated. And what gets us excited here is further consolidation opportunity. We also have past producing mines, and this is an area that we're also looking heavily at for M&A opportunities. So as I said, we've made a lot of progress just during the merger process of the company. We completed a 43-101. We started the licensing and permitting process for Wyoming. We've expanded our land position in both Wyoming and Colorado. We completed our capital raise and getting ready for our listing, and expect to start our drill program in early 2024. I would say we're also, heavily focused on M&A targets in both Wyoming and Colorado. So that's where the company is today. We're very, very excited. Again, we think we want to take a different position than a lot of our peers. We have a dual track of exploration and M&A. We think the company is well capitalized to be able to do that, and we think we have a phenomenal team to go out and create a lot of shareholder value. And again, no one is more aligned than myself and my partner Mike at Sachem Cove, as our LPs are the largest shareholders of the company.